Hello, my name is Tomy Shaw, and here today on today's channel, what we'll be talking about is how to choose the best credit card for you. What you need to understand before choosing a credit card, and why you must understand all these steps to really compare credit cards. Because some people just look at how many points it's converting, how much it's costing per year, and they're determining the value of that credit card based on that information. Well, I've dived into this process, and there's about 6 steps that you need to know before choosing the best credit card for you. So let's just look at how many people are doing this. And what I want to mention before we start doing this is that you need to understand that you always need to pay your credit card every month. You need to bring it down to zero because it won't work if you're doing that step. If you're using your credit card and you're paying interest, that interest is costing you a lot of money, and it's making you lose the potential to make money in other areas where you could pay down your debt, you could make money in real estate, you can make money in stocks. But if you're paying an 18% APR per year, this ruins the whole process for you. You need to understand this because the best place you can put your money is on your credit card right now. Where the highest interest rate is, you need to pay that off right now because you're working against yourself. So let's just look at some of these credit cards, how they work and how they compare. So a lot of these credit cards will show that they have an annual fee of $120, welcome bonuses of 25,000 when you're charged $1,000 in the first 3 months. An additional, these are informations that are good for the short term, but I think that you should choose a credit card for the long term because your history of credit is based on your credit cards. And every time you change credit card or you cancel a credit card, this might affect your credit score. So keep that in mind. So before choosing a credit card, think long term. Say, I'm gonna keep this credit card for 5 years. So don't only look at the welcome bonus to decide on which credit card is best for you. And you might spend more to get your bonuses. So it's not really something that's good when you need to spend more to get a bonus. You would have been better off just to keep your money and invest in something or pay off your debt. So let's just look at this. The first step in determining how much is this going to cost you per year. Well, the annual fee for this credit card is $120. What I do is that I negotiate with my credit card. I say to them, well, I spent over $15,000 this year. I don't want to be charged this annual fee. If they don't want to remove the annual fee, you could always ask your bank, how can I get this annual fee removed? So some of the steps that you can take is that they're going to ask you to put a certain amount in your bank account. So this could be $6,000, $7,000, and they'll waiver that annual fee. Every credit card is going to be different, but that's what I do with my credit card. So most of these are, when you're spending, they're going to convert that into points. Like for this one, 5 points for every dollar spent on groceries, dining, entertainment, 3 points on gas, public transit. So this is the first step, is determining how much are points being converted to your points. So because it's really important to understand this, but it's not the only step that is important. Yes, it is important to understand how is it converting, but actually it's more important to understand how much is it converting into cash. Like if you want to go travel, how much is it giving you in travel money, or how much is it given to you when you wanted to convert that money in your bank account. There's many ways you can convert your points, so you need to understand all the possible ways that you can use your credit card points to convert into cash. You need to understand this because how you're going to use those points will determine the value of those points. So you know how much is going in your balance points, but you need to know how much is it converting and how much is it really giving you from the beginning to the end. I know I'm putting a lot of information on this because it's really important for you guys to understand this information, because you can't just compare this credit card with the other credit card and saying, okay, this one is giving you 6 points per dollar spent. That doesn't mean anything. You don't know how much is that converting into real life value. Let's just look for an example. I've done here an example. This was a credit card RBC. Let's say we were spending $15,000. This credit card was giving 1 point for every dollar spent if it was normal expense. But if it was anything to do with going on vacation, it was giving 1.25. So I said we were spending $15,000 a year on the credit card, and I said 80% is going to go into normal expense and 20% is going to go in uh, traveling. So this gave us around $15,000, 15,750 points for the year. Now this is where it gets interesting, because the first step was determining how much you spend per year. The second step was determining how those points are converting into your like this balance. And then the third step, how can you convert that money? There's essentially, with this credit card, you could convert your money in like 8 different ways. But what we did, we found out the two places that it was the best way to convert that money. And what we seen was that it was better to spend it on traveling, because it was giving 2.14% on all the money that was being spent. That means if you're spending $10,000, well, or in this case $15,000, it was worth $337 for the year. And then another aspect is that if you were converting that money into your, let's say, your bank account, it was only worth $131. That was 1/3 of its value. It's very important to understand this, because how you're going to convert that money in your daily value is that, because when you're using your credit card to book a flight or whatever, you're losing that potential to buy with your credit card. So you're losing the potential to put your travel expense on your credit card, which would have given you more points. Like for this example, we were looking at a $5,000 traveling expense. Well, you're losing 1/3 of this that value, so it's about $131. So really, when you're using your points to go travel, you're losing the ability to gain more points. So this is why with my credit card, when I was comparing it to BMO World Elite, I could exchange my points for almost the same cost as going to on traveling. So when I was converting my points into my RRSPs, I was also making money on my money, because I was making an additional 38.4% on the money that I was converting into my cash account. And then I was using my credit card to go on vacation. So I was making again some money, another $131 plus the $337 plus the 38.4% on that additional money. And I didn't have to pay for my credit card, and I don't have to pay for interest on my credit cards, because I keep my credit card to zero. And then some credit cards will give you additional values. They might give you luggage expense paid. They might give you insurance. They might give you guarantees. They might give you a lot. So you need to determine, okay, how much is these insurance worth? Because to compare credit cards, you need to evaluate all of this information. You just can't look at the second step and say, yeah, but this credit card is giving me 6 points per dollar spent. That doesn't mean anything. The real way you can determine the real value is how much is that from the first step to the third step really giving you. And then you need to determine how much is it costing you, how much can you save per year. Like this credit card was saving her, another credit card was saving her $39. So this was additional value on the other credit card that was giving her additional value, and she needs to determine how many times per year is she really going to go on vacation, because you're going to multiply that number by the number of times. And then the sixth step is to see how much gain are you really realizing. This is very important to understand, because this is essentially going to tell you which credit card is the best credit card for you. And if you want to compare at least three credit cards, all these steps must be done for you to really understand the whole process of how they're making their money and how are you making your money. Because if this number is zero or negative, there's no point of using your credit card. This is telling you you're not spending enough on your credit card and you should use your debit card in that case. Because if this number is zero or negative, there is, well, zero will still be good because you're still building your credit, you're still showing history on your credit report. But if you're in negative, I would really evaluate your credit card to see if something fits better for you. So this is financial advice on choosing credit cards. It's not financial advice, but it's to give you an idea, because what I see is that people compare things without going the whole process. And credit cards, and I'm not saying that credit cards abuse people from this information, but they may sometimes make the information complicated because they want you to choose a decision based on the first reaction. So that is it for today. How to choose the best credit card. Take in mind that there are many steps that you need to do before choosing the right credit card. Think long term. Don't go for the short term points, because if you're looking for those short term points, you might overspend and you might spend that additional $500 that you would not have spent in the first place. So keep your money, do it safe, think long term. Thank you. Have a nice day.